So what we got next, brother?
All right. So good news for our boy Snoop Dogg.
Really?
Yeah. So
good news. He's had good news all year.
Yeah.
This guy's killing it.
Yeah, Snoop is killing it. And so you can add to the list of thumbs up for him because he got his criminal case we had back in 1993.
Oh, yeah.
He got that sealed. It is official. So he petitioned the courts to have it sealed, and it was approved. So it's sealed. So what does that mean to those for those
I
of
got
us?
some questions about that.
So let's go back 1993. Go back to that time. Snoop
Cars
Dogg.
bumping, dun, dun.
Right.
Okay.
Snoop was on trial, man. He and his security guard, McClellan Lee, I think they call him Malik, he was arrested for killing someone. But I guess as the story went back then, that this was self-defense, that there was a little bit of a dust up in and around the studio that they were at. They leave. They had to go back because they forgot a DAT machine. Those of you that in the recording space know.
Unfortunately, I know what the DAT.
Right, know what that DAT is.
The reel-to-reels, all that old school
also,
shit.
that gives you an idea how long ago that was.
Right.
So they said that they go back for the DAT. When they go back, one of the guys that was involved in that was kind of waving him down. Snoop, who's driving the car, pulls the car over, just kind of slows down. And while he was talking with them, another gentleman came out from behind some bushes or behind an obstruction and pushed his friend who was talking out of the way, goes to reach. McClellan then fires, shoots him 6 times. And so the big story in and around this was that ideally Snoop should have never been charged. That they felt that this was the DA clout chasing because it was Snoop and he was trying to make a name for himself. Everyone all agreed that McClellan, and forgive me if I'm butchering his name, that Malik was not a banger, did not gang bang, never did, wasn't into that. Even Snoop said, I was in a gang, I banged. He was not that. He goes, but I didn't do anything. He being Snoop,
right.
I was driving a car. I pulled up and I drove off. So it should have never been. This was a big deal, man, because the gentleman died. So fast forward.
Yeah.
Think about Snoop over the years.
Yeah.
It's funny, man, when you look at Snoop.
Yeah.
And how he is embraced in our homes. Our parents know him. Big Mama knows him.
Yeah, exactly.
Now everyone knows who Snoop is.
Absolutely.
He kept smoking, kept carrying on.
Yep.
This was a gangster, rapper, gang banging, heavy weed smoking, just misogynistic as they come. And now he is pitching products that we all use, right?
Yep.
Someone, I forget who it was online. I forget what I was looking at, but someone asked, who's a bigger star, Jay-Z or Snoop? And so they framed it this way. You're in a mall in Moscow and Snoop comes in one area and Jay-Z comes in another. Who's going to make the bigger crowd? Everyone says Snoop.
Yeah.
Snoop's going to cause a bigger crowd, right? So he's
Snoop crossed over.
Right.
He's good friends with Martha Stewart.
He really is. So I know it's a big lead in question, but what do you think about them concealing or not concealing or
sealing it?
Sealing the charge and the records and so on. And I think Snoop's career overall and how that kind of plays in.
Great. Yeah, I'd love to weigh in on this. I don't see the reason why they went through this, and maybe you can help to explain this to me, but my personal opinion is I don't see why they went through the whole trouble to seal this, right? Because I don't remember shit about that. and I happen to believe that a lot of people are like me.
No.
I think a lot of people think like me, but they may not want to admit it all the time, right? Here's the thing. Now, I don't know, was that in the forefront of your mind, this murder charge that was up against Snoop? Doc, was that in the forefront of your mind. I know for sure as shit it was not in mine.
No, sir.
Thank you, Doc. I appreciate it. Now, hopefully our guy K will be honest and say that it wasn't in his. Hopefully he will. See, look, he answered. He didn't have to say nothing.
No, I was waiting for you to finish to interject. But no, it was not in the forefront of my mind.
Right.
No.
We ain't even remember about this shit. So to answer your first question, I don't think he needed to do this. What he did, I think it had the opposite effect. It just drew attention to it because it was been all over the news the last couple of days. And I said, oh shit, either I forgot about it or I just didn't remember it, right? Because there's been so much shit that's been going on over the years. So what I think he did was just drew negative attention to it. If he just left it alone, we wouldn't be talking about it on the podcast today. It wouldn't be all over the different outlets and podcasts that is reporting about it right now. And it would just I just don't see the purpose.
Right.
I would have left it alone.
Right.
I wouldn't have drew attention to it, and it would have just been like it was before. So I don't like that he did that. I don't think he needed to do it. I mean, if that's what he wanted to do, I'm not, that's my guy, so whatever. I don't care, but I don't think it was necessary.
Yeah. You know what? That's fair. I can't really argue against that. The one thing I will say, though, is if it's you, meaning, in this case, it's Snoop. Now, I haven't seen the case. I didn't see the transcripts or anything. I'm not into it that deep. But maybe there are things in there. In particular, if you are innocent of those charges, maybe some things came out in there. Maybe you just don't want that information in there. Probably better that it gets sealed and goes away. So all that's living out there is what was in the news during that time.
I heard you can't Google it anymore. Now that it's sealed, I heard that you can't. But then again, this doesn't make sense to me because I heard that once it was sealed, that now you can't Google it anymore.
That I don't know. I don't know if
that's what I heard, which didn't make sense to me.
So the sealing process takes place with the court systems.
Okay.
I don't know, they're not. No one in LA County is scrubbing the internet to remove. To remove it from online. Now, if it was online because it was a public record, right? Then I could say.
And I think
but then that would be from the same source where that's providing public access to it. So I do see your point to some degree, but I could also, see from his standpoint if it's I guess I was going to say there must be something there, right? This was a huge story in 1993 because remember, he was one of the biggest celebrities in the world. He literally changed music, the music the way that we were listening to. Yeah. LA was huge. They owned the rap game. What was that kind of music they did, Doc? Was it called G-Funk? That G-Funk music was, I think that's what they call it.
That's what they call it, Doc? Was G-Funk
I believe it's G-Funk.
Yeah, so it's like they used to call it the G-Funk era. So he comes out, he's a huge star, and MTV was all over this.
Yeah.
It was huge. So maybe there was some other things there that he didn't want out. Maybe an anniversary was going to come up. Maybe he felt himself innocent, and there was just some disparaging things in there. I don't really have a problem with it, although I do see your point about reliving this. Him talking about it kind of brings it to the forefront. But if you bring it to the forefront, doesn't really matter because you can't look at the records now anyway. So you just talk. All that you can see is what's out there already. Right, because you can't get any deeper because it's been sealed. So,
yeah. I listen again. If that's what he wanted to do, that's fine. I don't think he needed to. Like I said, I think he drew attention to it. But I think to answer your second question, I think what he has done with his career, he is so loved now, loved by everyone. And to your point, when you made the comparison between him and Jay, he's a bigger celebrity because which I guess maybe some people would argue that, but I think he clearly crossed over, right? When he started working with Martha Stewart and he was just at the Olympics. He was like the biggest star at the Olympics, not even the athletes, bigger than Simone and all. He was huge, right? He's all over. He's now one of the judges on The Voice right now. Like he's getting every single gig and I don't even know if the brother's doing music anymore. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like when these rappers get to this point where they don't even need to do music anymore because they're doing other things, he's so beloved by so many people, black and white and older people, and still the younger generation. Like, everybody knows him. You know, he has children, grandchildren. He's almost like the Black Santa Claus. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm so proud of him, what he's done with his career. His music has been great. You know, wasn't a big West Coast, you know, music lover and stuff like that. But, you know, what he's done with the Death Row and all of his music, it's just amazing. And then he even did some movies, got into acting. Right. He's all over our TV airwaves. He's so successful. And I think he's bigger now than he was back then when he was doing the heyday of his music. So I'm proud of him. His career has evolved, and I think the best is yet to come for him. So, you know, this thing with the situation they sealed, I mean, if that makes him happy, right? I mean, I'm happy for him. Yeah. I don't think it was necessary, but it's all good, man. He's on the top of his game, man.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I love his story. Mm-hmm. That's incredible art. Like, there has to be a movie, a mini series down the line. Oh yeah, about his rise.
Oh, they're gonna make it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would watch that. Right. I don't know who the hell could play him.
It's got to be him. Only him can play him, right?
Right. But he's incredibly charming. I remember, in addition to how well he rapped years ago when we first became aware of him, just how engaging and charming he was. I remember when he first came to New York, he did that interview with Wendy Williams on the radio. Like, it was riveting. It was riveting. He was punchy with his lines. He went at Wendy, but in a way where everyone was laughing and she was laughing, but he did it in a comical way. Where he was just really, really on point. He just always seemed like everyone's friend. And that is saying something, because the climate, how the hip hop,
especially that time, right?
In that time, right?
But I think don't you think it was different at that time? He wasn't the Snoop that he is today at that time. It was more that gangster feel, and, you know, or you're saying that it was still kind of that lighthearted kind of Snoop.
I'm saying that he seemed to, despite the fact that the hip hop world was in the climate that it was in, East Coast, West Coast. He's clearly a Crip and Crip affiliated, yet he was at Death Row with, I want to say Blood. I don't think they were Pyrus, but in that environment. And he just seemed to move freely amongst that. Yeah. East Coast, West Coast, he did. Remember the Source Awards. He was one on stage. What, y'all ain't rocking with Snoop? Yeah, y'all ain't rocking with, you know, saying all that stuff. It's good to see him. I certainly root for the dude, man. He's good. He's a good guy.
He's a good dude. So successful, and like I said, just beloved by so many Americans and black, white, grandmothers, you know, grandchildren, everybody in between. And we grew up listening to his music. So yeah, he's doing his thing, man. So I'm happy that he's happy now that he got that taken care of. So that's all good.
Yeah.